Welcome back to Let's Just Create, where in the last episode we built this runway up, got some taxiways, added some more hangars, and we made this little plane workshop in which we're going to be using it for a little bit more than just planes today, because it realistically is the best area for us to work on what we're going to be working on today. What we're going to be working on today is trying to figure out how to make a helicopter. I realize I've already done a video figuring out how to make a plane, and a lot of that was pretty simple because I did a lot of it in creative mode. But if I want to really figure out how to make something, I should try it in survival mode, which is going to be a lot more difficult to make a working helicopter in survival mode, which is why I think it will be better to make it inside of this building where there's a roof and where I won't fly off and be stuck forever. But to be able to properly do that, first I'm going to want to build a helipad for when we actually have it done, and I had a little area that was right here perfect for a helipad, and I think I want some paths going around this area as well, like maybe like a path coming outside of this one into this one, out the side of this one which can go straight to the helipad, and then maybe one that just goes across into these ones, just so then they're all connected and you don't have to walk on the taxiways, because that's a little bit dangerous if you've got some big planes going around. So I think for paths to connect this whole area up, we're probably going to want something a little bit light to contrast from the darker blocks of the bottom of both the hangars and on the actual runway and taxiways. So I know that a bunch of cobblestone type blocks, but I think a lot of them, I'm not sure how many of them would actually work. I know there's these sort of path blocks, but I don't think these are going to work the greatest. And they might just add a running bond path, which looks somewhat okay, or stone running bond path. I just don't know if I want the paths to actually be elevated from the ground. I think I'd rather be embedded into them. And some part of me is thinking that andesite, annoyingly, is going to be the best thing for that. There is these andesite running bond things that instead of paths there is these, which might be okay. Let's just see, how would this look? It's just this looks like carpet to me more than it looks like an actual path because of how high up it is. So if I was to find an area in here for a door to be, it would probably be actually under this bit where the chest is. And then I can connect those two up like that. And then we can do actually the exact same on the other side, which does mean these paths are going to be 3 by 3 around the whole area, which actually, how the torches have been placed in all of these, that's actually kind of perfect, actually. Okay, that was not planned, but they're all in like perfect areas for me to just cut through and put them there. So make sure to go ahead and do it on this one. I think we're going to put one on the back instead, because then that means it can come out to this area where the taxi vehicle, the pushback truck, that's what it's called, it's going to be. Because I did get some great suggestions in the comments of the last episode. One of them was to do a rope connector, which although is a good suggestion, I feel like it would not turn correctly with the plane. And the other one was a sticker on the end of one of them, which I think could work. It's just, it'll probably likely have to be like pointing upwards so then it can stick onto this. And I'm not exactly sure how that would do on a plane that slants up like that, but we'll figure it out. But for now, I'm going to focus on putting a bunch of paths around this place, and I'll do a little replay mod time lapse for that one. Alright, now I've put some simple paths around the whole area, connecting that up, putting a little path up there to where the helipad area is going to be, and just connecting literally every single hangar up in some sort of way, all the way around the area. I will be getting some more bones at some point and getting a lot more bone will put down. And I think just for this back area here, having a little bit of fencing going around the outside might actually be a good idea. But the main point of this episode is learning how to make a helicopter. I have not made one before in Create Mod at all, and I actually don't know if it's going to go well or not. I'm actually kind of worried about it a little bit. I will be going to some people's bases though and hoping that they have their helicopters out, and I will be having a little look at them just to figure out how they've done it and see if I can do it in my own way. Okay, now that that's filled up, let's head into our plane. It's been a few days since I've done this, so let's hope nothing terrible happens. It's my first time properly going around this area as well, but it surprisingly seems to work well with this plane. So I want to line up properly, go to the left a bit, and then start going to the right. I wish we just had a little bit of better turning on this thing, but oh, there is an obstacle on the runway. There is, I think, 1 or 2 places I can think of going right now, and I don't actually know the name of the people who live at either of those places. Well, I know the names, but I don't remember who lives where. That actually wasn't a terrible landing considering no runway and the fact I came flying in, but we've got this first area here. I think it's Botcher, I don't know how to say it, who lives here. And they've got this little thing here with a small propeller on the top with a propeller bearing, I believe, which I know we have one of those. They have rope connectors on the top as well. On the sides here, we're using redstone accumulators. I don't actually know what those do. With a rotation speed controller on the back here, we've got andesite propellers, and we've got andesite propeller on this area here. I can only assume, yeah, this one is to turn, I believe, because they have a directional gear shift on the back here. This one is for forward thrust, and obviously the big propeller on the top is to lift up into the air. It seems very self-explanatory. In terms of power, I think I want to use a burner like I have for this, along with a engine. I forgot what type of engine that is. Is that a Stirling engine? Yes, a Stirling engine. Let's start getting the parts to this. Although this is not a schematic, it'll probably be easier to use a schematic backpack to get stuff for it. My normal backpack is still very, very full. So I definitely want some sails, not the windmill ones though, symmetric sails. We want, oh, we already have 2 Stirling engines just sat in here. Okay. I don't know why and 2 solid burners. Okay. I don't know why we have those, but we do. Directional gear shifts are useful in case change drives are useful. Vertical gearboxes, propeller bearing, rotation speed controller. Oh, wait, do we want a normal one or a gyroscopic one? I'll go with a normal one for now, just to see how it goes. You know, cogwheel. Let's get a seat. Let's get some light grey stained framed glass. And then I'm going to want some copycat blocks as well. And I definitely want some industrial iron for building it. It's going to be another thing made of industrial iron. I think I want my first version. Oh, that's industrial plating. Okay, that's fine. I think I want my first version of like everything I make for the first time to be like industrial iron, just because I think that'll be somewhat cool. Let's start building this in here. So let's go with a solid burner. I'm not sure where to start. Like, do I start from the front? It's just then from this point, we need to do what we did with the other one, bring it down and so these shafts would go under here, and then we'll make that go one back. Industrial iron vertical gearbox, propeller bearing, and then with the propeller bearing we put some symmetric sails that go 3 out in each direction, I'd say. Yeah, they had the top propeller, the propeller on the back to turn, and then they had another propeller around this area to actually make it go forward. We can do that, and then we put the change drives on the side there, and then we get these as directional gear shift, and then we put the andesite propellers on that one. But then it's way too close to this one, meaning I'd want to bring this whole thing back. That might still be fine, because then it's just a propeller on the back, and then we still need some blocks on the front here to cover this up, which does mean it'd be pretty even in terms of size on the back and to the front. And then I think with that area sorted out a little bit, we can get some copycat normal layers and bring them across the front like that. It does. I mean, it's not got the worst shape. It's just also not the greatest shape. That might look okay though. It just looks like a andesite propeller time, and then we can see where we're at with this little design. Now, how do I get andesite propellers? I believe it's pretty easy. We can turn a wooden propeller into one, or you just get propellers, and then that's 4 sheets, 1 andesite alloy. So, and propeller, we put one there, and then we need a, let's do a rotated, oh, we can't do a rotated one. We'd have to have be a normal gearbox there, propeller on that side. I don't think we can, yeah, we can't change the way they move automatically, which is why we do need the directional gear shifts, because then we can also move it on from the front by ourselves. It is a little bit funky looking, but you know, for whatever reason, everything I make has to look somewhat unique. I do think it looks better than that does, though, which is a good thing. It is single person, but that's also fine. So I guess now the only thing to do is just link it up with redstone links time already. I think it is. Now that means we want a link there, a link there, link there, and there. And as for this, we shall break those, put that facing that way. A link there and a link there, and then we can just put a copycat layer on there to cover it up. And then I guess we're going to want honey glue. I've got 2 of them, which I do realize more this looks very, very similar. Well, it works pretty much the exact same as the one I saw. It doesn't look similar to it, I don't think. I think this still looks like, you know, good enough to be my own. I can say that at least. Let's do it layer by layer because every layer has a bit on it anyways. That can go back to there. This bit needs to go to there. You need to connect to you. I'm feeling kind of like positive about this. Like I kind of feel like this is gonna go well. And I don't know if I'm jinxing myself or not. I probably am, let's be honest, but it should just be able to assemble now and have lighting issues for some reason. So I guess let's put some coal in there. Should start up. Yep. Okay, hold shift. I think that's pushing us down. Hold control. Oh, okay. Yep, but it's bringing us forward because of the blocks in front of us that weren't connected. Okay, let's disassemble this real quick. Connect to you. Put it back together. Okay. Yeah, so everything right now is the wrong way around when it comes to it. And yeah, that doesn't fill me with confidence. Yep, okay. Can I at least try and lift it up? No, okay, right. It clearly isn't going as great as I thought it was going to. And I don't know why. But I think the stuff goes too far forward. Like it tips over, which indicates it's probably front heavy. Because if I want to go up, then it tilts forward immediately. Because that means I got a massive weight imbalance. But I also don't know what to necessarily do about it. Would the other type of bearing help with this? If I was to get the gyroscopic propeller bearing, which does mean all of this are probably about to crumble. Wait, no, because it reconnects. Okay, good. So let's put that in and then bring it up. Does that make any difference? It does if I'm holding for it to go backwards. Oh, wait, no, because gyroscopic means it constantly aims upwards. This might work. Let's bring you back out here. It definitely goes up. And then if I use these to go forward, it lifts. Oh, but having all of that stuff on overstresses it, which really isn't good. I really need it not to get overstressed. Because like the idea works, the idea of a helicopter flying works, but the flying itself not so much. If I was to trim these propellers, then not only are they going to look too small, meaning they're going to look a little bit goofy, they're also not going to be as powerful. It's probably still going to be enough to lift. No, it's not even enough to lift anymore. Like it is now enough to use all of the propellers at the same time, but that doesn't matter when it doesn't even lift. Like if I remove that, but how fast would I go if I was to go forward with only one? Well, as of right now, it turns me to the side for obvious reasons, and it also doesn't move me far forward at all. Now, I'm not going on creative to make a helicopter and test it, but I am going on creative to test a idea I have. I can confirm with 3 solid burners and 3 Stirling engines, it would be able to power the whole thing. So do I just be lazy and do that? Well, okay, I wouldn't necessarily call it lazy. I'm just trying to fit it into a small area. Not like a massive helicopter, obviously. Just a helicopter that can move very fast. But I'd have to put a solid burner there, which means I'd quite a bit of weight. But with us being able to go full speed, that wouldn't matter. I'd have to go ahead, put these all along there. In terms of fuel, this is 3 times as expensive as the plane is. Definitely doesn't look good on the front though. Like I can say that for certain, and I can't really do anything about it. To be fair, like obviously I could redesign the whole thing on the front, but we're in a testing environment right now. If I want it to look better at some point, I can make it look better at some point. Okay, so let's put that into those. Let's disconnect that and let's get rid of you as a not you. And I have not put the controls back yet though. Let's put that there, a seat there, and I guess we are putting glass there and back there. I think I'm going backwards doing that. We are definitely going higher, faster, and we're actually moving forward very quickly. It's just we're swaying a bit. We can turn left and right, which is a lot quicker than it was before, apart from... Yeah, it's still a little bit difficult to turn, but if I had like a little bit of thrust from those, then it's fine. Like I can bring myself down with that. Yeah, that pretty much screws everything over. Yep. Let's. This is what happens when you're an idiot. Okay. Let's. I can't do much about this. Okay, do I think this helicopter is the greatest? No, definitely not. Do I think it looks the greatest? No, also definitely not. But does it work? I would say yes. Yeah, so this definitely isn't the end of me touching on this helicopter, especially not in this video. But I think we should take our focus to other things for now, and we can make improvements to that later. I've got 2 choices for what to do right now. One choice is to do a little bit more detailing around here, with even probably adding some dirt on the side of these paths, and actually around these hangars as well, and getting some more bone meal around. And the other option is the helipad, because helicopter being fixed and working properly is an end of the episode thing. It still has power from when I was showing my wife. So I think I'm going to go ahead and do the detailing first, simply because I want to head down to a little dungeon I found when on the first day of me playing this, actually, that was actually not included in the recording, simply because I didn't really speak during it, to be honest. It was during my little mining trip where I'd been digging down here, getting some basic resources, and I didn't really speak when I found it. I was like, oh, this is cool. This is different from a normal one. But I can head down here because it is a skeleton spawner, in which I think at some point I might make an actual mob farm out of it. But for now, I just want to get some bones from it so that I can actually do some bone mealing. There we go. Now we can just sit here and kill some skeletons. So I guess I will be back once I've got like a stack of bones, maybe. So now I've got just over a stack of bones. Even got over a stack of arrows from that, and a copper backpack with some random stuff in it. I even just made this area like completely easier for skeletons to spawn and easier for me to kill them. I think that is about it for this area for now. Maybe if you guys think I should make a skeleton farm, maybe I will. I'm gonna need a bunch of this coarse dirt, a bunch of this normal dirt, and we need all of the bones as well, and turn them into bone meal. Alright, let's head to sleep, and I'm gonna pause the recording and put you over to replay mode. So as you should have seen with that replay there, all of the dirt around the edges of every single building and path has been done. I even a little bit more bone milling in some areas to make it look a little bit better. Maybe you get rid of a little bit more of the tall grass, but that is okay. Yeah, I mean, the next area for us to do is the helipad area here. So that is that area now completed as it is. I definitely need to figure out some sort of like small lamp design for the dark areas around here. But I think for now, just having these torches around is all right. But I say that, and I'm pretty sure next episode is going to be our final episode with any sort of focus in this area at all. Because we're getting pretty close to, I mean, not only just running out of room on this top area, but also just having the whole area properly done. I'd love to like be able to put more buildings around this area, however I just don't see any purpose, especially because this area here would just block the runway, and over here would also just get in the way of the helipad, I believe. So I guess for now I'm going to move this onto there where it actually belongs, even if it isn't technically in use or supposed to be in use yet. It is where it belongs, and it does actually fit there quite well. Like, it looks pretty nice there. But the other vehicle that we are making this episode is the pushback truck that belongs over here, and I had worked on it a little bit in creative mode, so let's go check that out. So I had two suggestions for how it could work. One of those was rope connectors, and one of those was the sticker, which is quite simple. You can get a sticker and then powder redstone, and it will stick. Literally anything that touches it will stick to it. But if I was to, for example, put the sticker there and then stick it, you can very much see that it's been stuck and it has been raised from that. And if I unstick it, it goes back down. So this is the kind of vehicle I made for it. I haven't actually put the controls into it yet, or any of the redstone links, mainly because most of the redstone links being placed would mean I have to break more blocks inside of this area, which brings me great pain and misery. But yeah, I kind of made the design like this because in the actual like pushback trucks you would have like a front cabin which would be on the front, and then the pushback area thing that connects it would be here. So I might actually move this to the side. Okay, that is going to turn it. But is it going to turn it the way we want it to turn? It is. Okay. So let's now do a little turn around here, around this very disgusting version of this I made before. Yeah, we can't actually bring the speed down at all, so I should probably sort that out. But we can go into here, and then we should be able to enable the sticker. Yep. And then if I reverse, I can move the plane around. And if I go forward, can I move the plane? Yep, I definitely can. Oh, a little bit of a hole there, but that is fine. It is a little bit tight on the turning, but it does all work as it should. So let's make a little save of this. Let's call this Pushback Truck 1. No, let's do Iron Pushback Truck. And now we've got that, let's head back to the server. And this actually fits pretty perfectly in the area that I left for it, which is actually pretty cool. We could put it there. I don't know if it'd be able to turn out of this area, but that's a problem for later me. Let's put that into there with the gunpowder and get the material checklist. This shouldn't be that difficult of items to get. We need a directional gear shift. We need redstone links. We need light grey stained framed glass. That is a lot of words today. We'll take these shafts, take these vertical gearboxes. We also need honey glue, so I'll take that. We need vertical stairs. So button module there, and a control desk. Why? What reason? I'm gonna have to make a precision mechanism, aren't I? I don't think I've got a spare one anymore. The giant thing above my bed. Where? Oh my lord. Giant is an understatement. I'll try to see if I can land on it. It's just a little bit hard to line up with it. I live in a constant state of being upside down, apparently. Ignore the plane that's currently on the back of your airship.
I will.
Ooh! Okay. Uh-oh. Oh! Okay. I've been launched. Where's... Ooh, okay. Oh, what a save. Okay. Okay, well, that was certainly something. Now, the real question is, where's my plane? Ah, there it is. Well, that was certainly something. Anyways, we need a control desk. And we need our Pedro module. Let's get our Pedro module. Yeah, let's get Pedro first. So, Pedro module. There we go. We've got that. Sticker. Okay, we just need redstone transmission and control desk. Redstone transmission is our next thing we're going to do. And that's a redstone transmission, and the final thing we need is the actual control desk itself. Now we have everything we need. We can head over here and put the final thing into there. We will go into here and do skip missing blocks already on. Let's go. It's going to be very quick, so I am not going to do a little time lapse of this. Yep, see how quick that was. Did not need a time lapse at all, and the modules did not automatically go on either, so I'll have to do that myself. And then we shall head into here and configure that. And then let's head over to the side and fuel. Oh, I can't fuel that like that. Okay, well, let's do that. And I need the physics thingy. That seems a bit bouncier than I want it to be. Maybe the suspension isn't correct. That's okay, we'll check that later. Nope, I had the turn incorrect the first time. But if we ignore that, it drives pretty perfectly. It still sucks on corners though, like completely. But hey, I never said I was good at this, alright? And then I bring the sticker out. It sticks, yep. And then let's reverse. We can definitely use this to move the plane about. Stick it onto the engine. Which realistically, no, you should definitely not be doing that. You should definitely not be sticking another vehicle onto a vehicle's engine and then using that to move the whole thing. But this isn't real life, is it? Drop it off there, and then we can just reverse. Do a little bit of turning ourselves. And then we can head back where this vehicle belongs. You know what? For my first car, I don't think that is completely terrible. So our final thing for today, as far as I can remember, is to finish off the helicopter and have it in a state where it actually works. I'm still going to keep the triple engine, simply because I want this to have a lot of power. The next thing I wanted to do was to bring this back again. So I need to bring this back, I think, one more block, because I think that might even it out a little bit. Also, I feel as if, should the tail be a little bit higher? Because I know I want these propellers higher, but should the tail also be higher? And in having these higher as well, it's going to mean that I'm going to have to bring these one more back as well, but that will help with the front heaviness of this thing. Okay, let's tear this down temporarily to make it longer. It looks pretty good looking on the back, actually. I mean, the back is a way bigger improvement than what it was before, I'd say. The front is going to live a lifetime of ugliness and loneliness, though, but I can't do much about that. I could attempt, I don't necessarily feel the need to. Well, we have our last 3 blaze lanterns to test this out. I'm not sure how much power that's going to give us, but hopefully it's enough to properly test this. Let's sit in here and do this. If I hold W, we go backwards, not forwards. Okay, right. Simple fix to this, instead of having to swap everything about, is after reading the, what is it? I don't know. The ponder, I realized you can just click on these and they will reverse. So I don't actually have to change anything that drastic. These go forward. Yep. Holding control brings us up. Oh no. Oh, that's user error. Okay, that's not helicopter error. Is it back heavy now? Oh my god, ain't no way. I think it's too back heavy now. It's too back heavy. We're just going, we're aiming up. And we're barely moving forward. We need to be able to move forward more. How have I managed to turn this back around on itself? I thought, it's fine. I'll just upgrade this and we'll be over and done with it. Nope, no, we won't. Apparently, everything hates us. I guess we add more into this central area. Although that still added more weight to the back more than the front. What am I supposed to do here? We can take that slope layer, because I think if I get a copycat... No, copycat stairs are still light. We're going to have to, like, hope and pray that slope layers can finish the job for us. And that does redeem the front a little bit. Well, that would explain why it's so front heavy. Well, not front heavy, that would explain the tilting. And also, if I want to make it more front heavy, then I could at least make it a little bit more even on each side. And then we can also just spin it down a little bit quicker on this area. And just for the sake of an extra, like 0.25 kpg, let's just do that on each side there, and then hope. It's a lot of hoping today, isn't it? Oh, this is dreadful. We're just going backwards. I think I just added even more weight to the back. Okay, if there's an issue with weight on the back, then we have to remove the things that aren't necessary. Goodbye, you. Realistically, we probably don't need these sails. But if I was to replace them with something like this, that's pretty much everything that's not necessary on the back. I mean, this realistically just adds extra detail. So, I mean, we can remove that. And that's all I can really think of removing. We can add a little bit to the, like, front engine bit, I guess. Literally just finding excuses to place anything anywhere on the front now. The other side's got full blocks here instead from the looks of it. You know what? We should have full blocks there. And then on top of this, let's add some of these, like, little layer things. I really don't think that's going to make much of a difference, but it has, actually. It's made quite a bit of difference. And then now if I was to do this, it's not quite as much as I had hoped, but it has made a difference. It's just you can tell how even it is because of the way it's rocking back and forth. We still want more weight on the front, but this does actually move pretty quickly. And an even cooler thing about it is it's pretty much all only aeronautics parts. We are continuing to turn that way, so yeah, we need to like some counter for us to be able to stop turning, but this does work. We can take off and we can land, and all I need to do is add that redstone transmission and this whole thing is done and will fly a whole lot better. Yeah, because when we start falling and then I bring up the thrust, it starts tilting on to the back. So if we would save ourselves massively from a fall, or keep on spamming it in fact, it's likely going to cause issues. Yep, especially when turning like we are there. Yep, let's just abort, yep, man, there we go. And I'm going to not be bothered to do the redstone transmission because I am lazy. And yeah, I know, I should still do it anyways. But I've got video to edit, ideas to complete, or other things that are not just this. I have a whole create mod add-on I want to make myself and even make a video or two on. So if I can do that, then I definitely want to have the time to be able to do that. But even adding that could make a lot of difference. I mean, it didn't automatically tilt to the back like it had a few other times when it fell. But, you know, I think it actually looks pretty cool. And with that extra weight, this can actually be added back here for a little bit of extra stuff. Because now if I lift it back up and drop it, is it going to tilt to the back? Nope, landed perfectly fine. What I was to tilt it a little bit like sideways, how does it fall? Actually, perfectly fine. I mean, obviously it's a little bit wobbly, but it didn't go to the back or anything like that. And I think if I was to take off now, it still goes towards the back, but it does correct itself. And yeah, when we thrust forward, we do a little bit of poking forward, and that is what I really wanted. It is still very minuscule in terms of a difference, but if it works a little bit, it works a lot better than it did before. Especially when it comes to me and create Aeronautics, because believe it or not, if you haven't been watching these videos, this server is my first time delving into create Aeronautics at all. Me making a helicopter based on what I saw for like about 5 minutes earlier is actually quite a big feat in my eyes. So I'm actually pretty proud of myself for being able to do this without any issues at all. And I think that's rain. That is actually a lot of rain. As I was trying to say, I think that is actually it for this episode. We got quite a decent amount done in, I would say, a short time for me at least. It was still multiple hours of recording, but it was like less than the previous 2 episodes. And I still feel like I did quite a lot. I learned how to make a helicopter with my very first version of it, actually doing all right. I had some paths in between buildings and messied them up, and I also did that along here as well. And I even made this pushback machine here, which actually works. Yeah, I mean, that's it for next episode. Not next. Whoa, haven't even started that yet. That's it for this episode. If you enjoyed it, then subscribe and like. And yeah, I guess I'll see you next time.